Hi, yo, what's up? So today I want to make a video showing you everything that I use for PvP on my Seeker right now. And in T2 I'm playing as a Seeker right now. So I'm just gonna show you all my builds and everything that I think about Seekers. And as of right now, I recently reached the point of 91, the rank of 91 in solo arenas. And also, if you check the kill ranking, it's probably not worth much because as a healer, you're probably not gonna go very high in the kill ranking because you're not killing anybody. So, but as of right now, my kill ranking is 183, and so I think as a healer, I think that's pretty good. So there it is. I'm getting way less scores than actual DPS that are killing people, but there it is. So I get this kill ranking mostly from GVGs and Dominions. I do a lot of Dominions, and so both for bosses and also the Dominion events, and so I kind of enjoy that. I enjoy PvP right now, and that's kind of what it is. So I'm just gonna remove the camera and show you everything. All right, so let me show you my build right now. So this is currently what I'm running right now. So I mostly have T2 gear right here. I'm only missing 2 pieces. So as you can see here, I'm playing with 3 pieces of Vanguard, and my goal would be to at some point get the Vanguard boots to get the 4-set bonus, so that I'm getting more base damage from my main weapon. And then currently I have the Band of Universal Power, but at some point my goal is going to replace it for the Ring of Black Anvil. So that's my gear right here, and this is mostly defensive gear for PvP. I mean, I use it also for PvE, but this is mostly for PvP, and it's basically full endurance. Like the Auric Vanguard, it's giving a lot of endurance. So there it is. I'm also getting some cooldown speed from the Primal Ritual Color. I'm getting endurance from this bracelet, and getting a range. I'm getting some range from this ring, so that's pretty good here. And then on the belt, I get some heavy evasion, and the cape here, cooldown speed. That's pretty good. And for the trait, one important thing to know here is that I'm also using the silence resistance, and on the cape as well, and also some weakened resistance. And I'm kind of struggling right now with silences because in T1 I was playing with the staff. I was playing staff wand, and right now with the wand bow, silence is kind of an issue because with the staff you have the passive that reduces the silence, and so you can counter the silence properly with the staff. But now with the bow, I'm kind of struggling with silences with I think it's Shadow Strike or something like that. So yeah, so that's kind of what it is. So right now I'm about to get 5800 CP, and I'm basically running with 70 strength because in PvP you need that defensive, you need that HP, and so it's very valuable. And so dexterity, I'm not playing with that much dexterity, and the reason for that is because as a seeker, you play a lot with the odds, the healing over time, and from my understanding is that the healing over time, they can EV, but they cannot crit, and so dexterity is not very valuable. And dexterity also gives evasion, but since this is an endurance build, like dexterity is not that great, and so the only thing dexterity is kind of valuable is for max damage and maybe the attack speed. But I'm already getting a decent amount of attack speed from my weapons here, so that's why dexterity I don't think is that much valuable. And I'm also getting 70 wisdom, and so the max mana and the mana regen is very valuable, and so I very highly recommend that. And here you're getting 70. I'm getting 70 perception here, and it's not really about the hit chance or anything because as a seeker, you're mostly playing support, and so you're not gonna do that much offensive ability. But the thing is that you're also getting like the endurance from the Auric Vanguard, and so there are also masteries that give you defensive stats depending on your perception, and so I mean, I guess that can be pretty good too. I mean, you're also going to do some CCs from time to time, and so I guess that can be cool. And so it also improves the buff duration as well. So I guess that's fine. The 50 range, 50 perception is also pretty good because it gives you range. And so overall, I think that's pretty cool. And here I'm also playing with some fortitude, and my goal right now is to get to 50 fortitude in order to get the heavy attack evasion. And so I think right now in T2 heavy attack evasion is really important, and weaken resistance is also very important as well. And talking about weaken resistance right now, I have a little bit over 600, and ideally I think I would need 1000 ideally. So my goal right now is that you see on these accessories I'm stacking some weaken resistance, but at some point once I'm fully geared, I'm probably gonna switch some of these runes for to have like full weaken resistance. I think it's on this bracelet. So the thing is that right now I kind of want to have some heavy attack evasion on this bracelet, on this belt, but once I actually get my 50 fortitude, I'm probably gonna switch the bracelet and the belt to have full weaken resistance. And so for now I'm kind of playing with this, but once I'm fully geared, I hope that I'm gonna get more weaken resistance. So there it is. And on the rings I'm also putting some weaken resistance, and on the necklace, and that's kind of what it is here. So that's my gear. I'm still working on it. Obviously I'm missing some traits on some of those pieces. So the chest I'm missing traits, and the necklace I'm missing traits. So still working on this. Alright, so now let's talk about my skills. And basically I have two sets of skills right now that I'm playing. And so there's this first set here that I'm playing. This is mostly for GVGs and Dominions and things like that. And so everything related to PvP, then this is probably my default skills right here. And then if I want to do arenas, then it's a small variant, but there are some differences, and then this is what I use in arenas. And so I'm going to explain everything that I do here. So let's just go to my default build here, because this is probably the most important. And so this is kind of what I'm using right now, and I'm using the chaotic shield. And I think both the chaotic shield and overtaker are pretty good, but I think it's good in different situations. Because the thing that I love about the chaotic shield is that I'm used to it. I've been playing with it since T1, and so I know how it works, and I'm very, very used to it. And what I love about the chaotic shield is that the stationary block, I feel like it's pretty long, and I feel like I can use it for longer. And so what I love to do with this shield is that when I need to defend myself, or if I'm getting attacked, what I love to do is that I'm gonna drop my circle, and then I'm just gonna sit in it while blocking. And so I think this is really good right there. So it allows me to survive from time to time. So I kind of enjoy doing that. But the thing that I don't like about chaotic shield is that if you get silenced, then you cannot use this one, because from my understanding is that when you get silenced, you cannot use survival abilities. And so if you look at the skill type, this one is survival, and then overtaker, it is tactics. And so if you're getting silence with overtaker, you can still use it. And so that's really good right there, because when you have daggers on you that silence you, then overtaker can be very valuable, I think. But overall, I think I still prefer chaotic shield, because I'm used to it, and I love being able to defend myself with this stationary block. So I mean, it depends on your preference. Also, if you go with overtaker, you have a little bit more mobility, and so when you block, you get to have more mobility. If I can show you, what are you doing, bro? Dude, what is this dude doing, man? Okay, whatever, man. I don't know why it's not working, but when you do a perfect block with overtaker, You get to have more mobility. You can move around a little bit, so that's kind of really cool. So that's kind of what it is. Okay, and so then Healing Touch, and Healing Touch is basically your most important abilities, because when you play Seeker, the most of the time what you're going to do is that you're going to stack Healing Touch on many targets in your party, and so that's what you do as a Seeker. Like when you have downtime. Well, you don't really have downtime, because in your case, you're just going to spam healing touches on everybody. And so the idea with healing touch is that you want to get enough cooldown speed so that you can put healing touches on 3 people. And so if people have buff duration, I think it lasts for like 9 or 10 seconds. And so what it allows you to do is that you can stack healing touches on 3 people, and so that's really cool right there. And so the thing is that you need to make sure that everything is on point, because if somebody goes out of range, or if somebody is not in line of sight, then it kind of breaks everything. But overall, that's kind of what I do. And so you put healing touch in your party. Ideally, you want to put healing touches on 3 people, but sometimes it can be kind of really hard to keep 3 healing touches on 3 people, and so sometimes I might only do 2 people, depending on how I'm comfortable and how people are going to move. And so that's usually what I love to do. And healing touch works really well with Nature's Blessing if you play with this spec. So let me show you my specs, I guess. I don't know. So yeah, Nature's Blessing spec Vigorous. This is really good with healing touch, obviously. And then Purifying Touch, that's also a very good ability in PvP. And so you're always going, you see this cooldown here is like 8.7 seconds, and I use it all the time. I use Purifying Touch all the time, and so every time that I purify somebody, I think it also puts a Healing Touch on top of that, and so that's really good right there. And so it also works with Nature's Blessing if you play with the spec, and so this is really good. And ideally, you want to use Purifying Touch on either stuns or anti-heals, and everything that can prevent people from playing or that prevents healing. And so ideally, that's kind of what you want to do. But since it's only 9-second cooldown, so I just use whenever it's on cooldown, honestly, bro, because it's such a good ability. Debuffing is such a good thing. And also I might use debuffs, Purifying Touch, if I get some sort of wand DPS, or if I know that I'm gonna get one shot by a wand or something, then debuffing can be very valuable here. And so Purifying Touch is such a good ability, and I really enjoy that. And obviously you want to play with the cooldown speed, the cooldown decreases, and so that's really good right there. Highly recommend that. And then the next ability here is that I'm playing with Enchanting Time. And here, this is support abilities. And here, I'm playing with Enchanting Time. And one thing to know here is that I'm also playing with the Mastery Spectral Defense. And here, Spectral Defense, I think this is really good to put on your tank or a DPS that wants to escape or something, because what it does here, Spectral Defense, is that when you play with Enchanting Time, you're able to go through people, you can go through mobs and can go through other players, and it also puts a little shield. And so I think it's really good, again, when you put that on tank, because tanks usually they're going to be like in the middle of PvP with a lot of mobs and a lot of people, of players, and so putting this on tank will help your tank a lot to move and simply position himself properly, because when you're stuck in combat, sometimes it can be really hard to move. And also I think it can also help DPS, because DPS usually get a lot of damage, and so sometimes, especially the melees, like when they go into combat, they have to retreat a little bit or come back, and so having that passing through effect, I think, can be very valuable. And when you put that on the DPS, he's also going to do more damage, and so I really enjoy that. So I play with that. It also puts a little shield. It's not much. I think it's like 1,000 right here. A little bit. Okay, 1,000 and 400. 400. I mean. So there it is. So it's a little shield. It's not much, but it's just that it has so many effects that I kind of enjoy that. And I'm also playing with this one in arena. And I see a lot of people, instead of playing with the Enchanting Time in arena, they play with Burning Time in arena. And I think Burning Time in arena can be really good. Not in other situations, not very much in other situations, but in arena I think it can be very good because if, for example, there's a healer or something like that that rely heavily on mana, then burning mana can be very valuable. But the thing is that if you play with Enchanting Time in arena, like I have so much mana regen and mana cost efficiency that, like, if you're going to play with the mana burn, you have to make sure that you're going to do it properly. And so the thing is that sometimes right now I see healers playing with the mana burn, but as a healer, like you're a tank, and so not many people are going to come on you. So I see some people doing mana burn and then they just auto attack me, but that's not enough. Like that is not enough to burn my mana. And so ideally I think that to make mana burn more effectively, you should have comms with maybe with other players, with your teammates, or maybe you're playing with a crossbow, because the crossbow is going to destroy your mana if you also apply the mana burn. And so that's kind of what I think about it. I see some people playing with it, but it's not very effective. And so because of that, since it's mostly randoms, I just play with the Enchanting Time. But if I'm in a more coordinated group, maybe at some point I'm going to change to Burning Time. I don't know, because against healers, I think Burning Time is very, very good. And then Nature's Blessing, that's obviously very good. And Nature's Blessing, you use Vigorous to do a burst healing, and you play the cooldown speed, because that's gonna help you do more Nature's Blessing. And also another thing to note here is that I'm also using Nature's Blessing sometimes to debuff, and also to gain some mana back, because it also increases your mana and also removes some weakens. And so that's really good. It's just an amazing ability. And Nature's Blessing is one of those abilities that sometimes I might use Blitz on it, and really good ability. The only thing that I don't like about Nature's Blessing is that the range is kind of locked to 16 meters. And so you see, if you check my range right now, it's 28.7 meters, and that's pretty much for all my abilities. Pretty much all of my abilities have 28.7 meters, but Nature's Blessing is like this ability that doesn't increase your range or anything, and so it's really locked to 16 meters. And so I think it's kind of annoying. Like, I don't know why it's not like getting increased range from the range stat, but I don't know. So what I have to do is that when I know that I'm gonna have to do a Nature's Blessing on somebody or on some people, I have to charge into the battle and I have to kind of go stack on them to make sure that they get the Nature's Blessing. Because if, for example, Clay's Salvation, it has an amazing range, so I get to reach these dummies from here with Clay's Salvation, but Nature's Blessing, like, the radius is much smaller. So that's an important thing to note here. And so here for my CC, this is my my CC here. So in GVGs and in Dominions, I obviously play with Tornado, because this is kind of like a massive CC. This is like a massive AoE CC that, I mean, you can block it, but it's really hard to really miss, if that makes sense, because Tornado, like, it hits many times the targets. It's an AoE and it hits many times the target, and so it's really, really powerful in GVGs and when there's a lot of people. The only thing here with Tornado is that I don't use it in Arena. In Arena, I prefer using Curse Nightmare, which is the sleep. And the reason I don't use Tornado in Arena is that the casting time is so long. Right. The casting time is so long, and in arenas, everything is happening so fast, and it's so slow. I don't think it's good in arena, and so it's slow. It's people see it coming, they can block it, and so I think it's mostly good in big fights, and so that's why I only use it in GVGs and in Dominions, because there's so much happening that people will not see it coming or whatever. But in arena, I'm playing with Curse Nightmare, and this one doesn't have any specs on it. I'm just playing like the base ability right here. And the reason for that is that in T1 with one staff, I was playing with the Enhanced Nightmare and also the Deep Sleep, because what I could do is that I could play with the Ice Tomb, so I could chain the CC, so that was really good right there. But with one bow, I don't use any specs on it, because usually what I do in arenas is that I'm gonna target the healer, and then I'm gonna sometimes put Curse Nightmares on him. And I love the fact that I have to wait 3 seconds, because sometimes when you put the instant curse, the instant nightmare, what it does is that uh, the moment you press the moment you put him to sleep, sometimes some of your auto attacks might actually interrupt the sleep. And so I love the fact that I have to wait 3 seconds so that I can stop the auto attacks, and then I'm sure that the target is going to get the sleep properly without being interrupted or anything like that. I mean, mostly by my auto attacks. I mean, it can still get interrupted, but you know, that's kind of what it is. And then my next ability for both specs, it is Blast Barrier. And here I'm simply playing with, okay, I don't put any specs. And so I know that some people, they play with not Valor's Barrier, but Target Extended. And so I think it can be nice if everybody's stacked. Like if, for example, you're in a static and everybody's stacked, I think that can be really good. But what I found is that most of the time, both in GVG and in arenas, most of the time I think that only one people might actually die at some point. And so, especially in arena, like in arena, most people will focus on one target at a time. And so I think that Blast Barrier is kind of like my oh shit button. And so I'm gonna, if somebody is about to die, or if I know, for example, that somebody's gonna take a lot of damage, I just Blast Barrier, and I know that, well, maybe that's not gonna save him, but he's gonna have more chance to survive. And so that's where I'm going with it. So it's kind of like a no shit button right there. And one important thing to know here with Blast Barrier is that yes, it increases the defenses by a lot, but during the day it also increases the healing received by 48%, yes. So that's really good if you actually need to heal somebody. So if somebody is about to die, this is really good. So you can put Blast Barrier, and you can either do swift healings, or you can go with the combo of Nature's Blessing and Healing Touch. And so that way, like usually when you do something like this, like that's gonna top off somebody easily. And so that's kind of what it is. And this is the same thing in both arena and, okay, in arena I'm actually playing with the duration increased. Okay, so there we go. That's really good. Blast Barrier, I love Blast Barrier. So that's my ability right there. And then my next ability is obviously Fountain of Life. And I think Fountain of Life, I'm playing with all the specs because I just love this ability right there. I just love it. And I play with the mana because, I mean, I often get people that need mana, and so because of that, I just play with the mana recovery, because in arena, and even maybe less in GVGs, but also in Dominions, where in Dominions sometimes you can get like long fights, And I think the mana recovery can be very useful for DPS and even sometimes for myself if I actually need mana. And so you can get mana from Fountain of Life and also from Nature's Blessing, so that's really good. And usually what I love to do with Fountain of Life is that I love to pop it on myself. And so if, for example, I know that I'm gonna get target or something like that, I'm gonna take a lot of damage, I just use it on myself and then I just sit in it and I just use my stationary block. And so that's usually what I love to do. And sometimes when DPS are retreating and they come and stack on me, they want some healing or whatever, then that's just what it is. I just pop it on me and I know that they're gonna get healed from it, and that's kind of how I see it. And so yes, you can use Fountain of Life on other people, but that's not my favorite thing to do because especially DPS, they're gonna move a lot, and like you might drop the Fountain of Life on DPS, but they're gonna get away and they're gonna do some DPS things and they're gonna move around, and so that's not my favorite thing to do. So what I do is that if there's a pack, for example, of people that are fighting or like they're attacking at melee, or maybe somebody's about to get guillotined or whatever, then that's probably one of the only situation where I'm actually going to drop my Fountain of Life on somebody. So that way, like, if there are many people that are clumped up, then I feel good about dropping my Fountain of Life because it is most effective. But most of the time, I try to keep Fountain of Life for myself and drop it on myself, but it kind of depends on the situation. And then my next ability is consecutive swift healing, and I play with obviously I'm using healing transfers, and so I think this is a must-have. And then here, swift healing, I also play with consecutive use, but I don't feel like it's very important here. You could basically play without the consecutive use and play with another ability. It's just that I'm so used to one staff where I would play with this, and I think right now with one bow I don't think consecutive use is very necessary, but it kind of depends on your preference. But I play with it because sometimes, like for example, first of all, it allows me to do more healing, I guess, but I try to prioritize as much as possible healing touch, and so swift healing is, I mostly use swift healing when people are about to die. Like, the thing with healing touch is that yes, it's a really good ability and you can stack it and the cooldown is really short, but I think the most difficult thing with Seeker is knowing, since they both share the cooldown, healing touch and swift healing, the most difficult thing with Seeker is knowing when to use healing touch and when to use swift healing. And so I think healing touch is really good when there's downtime where there's not much happening, and so you can stack like healing touches on people, and you know, like it's a healing over time, so that's gonna be like the targets are going to be okay for a little while. So when there are downtimes, that's really good to stack. And also, if you want to do a burst healing, then healing touch is really good with Nature's Blessing. But again, Nature's Blessing, you have to make sure that you're within the range. But the most important thing to know with healing touch is that most of the time, if the target is low, like, it's not gonna save anybody, if that makes sense. It's not like healing touch by itself is not gonna save anybody. And so that's where swift healing comes in, because if somebody is low and is about to die or something, it is swift healing that is going to save the target, not healing touch. And so swift healing is kind of like, okay, this person is about to die, then I need to swift healing real quick, right? So that's swift healing that is actually going to save people. And so that's how I feel about it. So most of the time you just stack healing touches, but swift healing is like when somebody is about to die. So I play with consecutive use because, especially when there's anti-heals, for example, I think swift healing is really good because I can keep somebody alive, and then I can wait for the entire heal to go away, and then I can use charges slowly, and then once the entire heals goes off, then I can use charges, if that makes sense. And so that's kind of how I feel about it. That's something that I would do sometimes. I would slowly use my charges and then wait for the entire heal to go away. So that's what I do with it. And since with this build you have a lot of range, you don't really have to use like skill range, or even on the clay salvation you don't need the range increased. Even on the invincible wall you don't need the range increased, because you already have a lot of range. So I'm not playing with that. And then the next skill is obviously clay salvation, and I also play with weaken removal, because like removing weakens is so valuable as a healer. And so especially when they have anti-heals or stuns or things like that, it is so valuable to remove weakens. And so I'm playing with that right now. And so that's both for my GVG build and also my arena build. And then, oh, that's not this one, okay. And then my next ability is Invincible Wall. And for GVGs and the minions, I play with Invincible Wall with target extended, because usually I'm gonna have a lot of people in my party, and that's gonna be the most effective. So I think Invincible Wall is really good. So that's kind of what it is. And then in Arena, I only play with the basic ability, and the reason for that is that most of the time in Arena, only one person is gonna get focused, and so since target expanded decreases the effectiveness, I prefer having a full invincible wall on somebody, so that I'm able to save the person live. And so also an important to note here is that target expanded also has a casting time, and so because of that, in Arena I just prefer having the instant cast that is going to save a person that is targeted. And so that's literally how I feel about it, and that's really good. That's a really good ability. So my next ability then is Blitz, and Blitz, I think in my normal build I'm not playing with any specs on it. That Blitz is one of those abilities that I'm still learning, because I'm still not used to Blitz. And that's kind of what it is. And then in Arena, I think I have the cooldown reduction. So it kind of depends on what you want to do. So usually Blitz, I'm going to use Blitz on either Nature's Blessing or Clay Salvation. I love using Blitz on Clay Salvation, because Clay Salvation is just a very good heal. It removes a lot of weakens, and it has an amazing range. So that's usually my most favorite ability to use Blitz on it. And then sometimes I might use Flash Wave too. But the thing with Flash Wave is that the art that you put on people with Flash Wave, I think it's like, oh, I don't think it's there. Okay. Okay. See, Flash Wave puts it out for like 15 seconds, and so like to be most effective, I don't feel like I should use Blitz on it, because to be most effective I would need to wait like 15 seconds to use Flash Wave again. And so usually I use Blitz on Clay Salvation and Nature's Blessing. And then finally I use obviously I use Flash Wave, because it's just a really good ability. I think it's a broken ability, Flash Wave, and I think they should turn it down. But since I'm playing healer right now, there you go, I'm playing with it, and it's a very good ability. And so it does a lot of healing, and also does some damage on targets. And in both Arena and GVG I play with the effect duration, because it increases the duration of the healing recovery. And so that's really good. I mean, I don't have anything to say about that. It's just a really good ability. And there it is. And so usually I try to move around to make sure that I include all my allies within the area. And if it's not possible, or if the timing is not right, what you can do with Flash Wave is that you can block while casting Flash Wave, and then that's gonna cancel the cast. And so that's a little thing to know here. That's quite useful. That's something that I do often when I'm casting Flash Wave and I'm like, oh no, I want to cancel it. Well, you can just dodge or block, and that's gonna cancel the Flash Wave. So now I'm gonna talk about my masteries, I guess. And for the masteries here, okay, let's start with the one, I guess. And here, this is pretty obvious here. You obviously want to go with the defense section, and then here, I think this is the support section. And it's pretty simple. The defense section gives you more defense, and here, finally, Blast Ace gives you more reduced cooldowns on your healing abilities. And here, this is really good here because it reduces the your healing cooldowns of both your bow ability, your bow abilities, and also your wand abilities. And so here, bro, this is just really powerful right there. And it's the same thing with Divine Choice. I think it increases the healing of both your bow abilities and your wand abilities, and so it's just broken, man. It's just broken. And so there it is. I'm also playing with Celestial Boost here. I think this is really good. It increases the healing of your AoE effects. So as you can see here, I'm playing with those passives right here. And you see Raid's Beacon, it's usually offensive, but now since it changes the effect for something more for healers, then I play with this one right here. And then what else can I say about this? I'm also playing with Corrupting It because I think this is kind of like my only source of DPS. And so usually when I'm healing, I'm auto-attacking some sort of target or some sort of boss, or maybe the opposite, the enemy healer or something. And so that's what I do. I just auto-target somebody so that it puts some curses on that person. And so I think that's decent right there, but in reality, I don't see myself using anything else too, so and that's kind of what it is. And that's my wand right there. And then for the bow, I'm using something like this here. So you obviously want to play with Life Ward here. You want to play with Survival Mend. I don't really like Wind Rush that much. I really like Blessing of Wisdom here. And here I'm only playing with 1 point because with Punishing Grip, because the thing is that it increases the chance, but this ability here still has a cooldown. So because of that, since it has a cooldown or something, I don't feel like I should put more points. I mean, if somebody's gonna attack me at some point, he's gonna get binded, and that's gonna help me a lot, but it still has a 6-second cooldown, and so I don't feel like I should put more points in it. So Omniscience, it's one of those things that is kind of the same thing. I mean, I think it's probably it's decent, but once you have the first effect, I mean, I think it's pretty good. I mean, I'm gonna add more into it, but I don't feel like I don't know how I feel about it actually, but there it is. And then there's also Archer's Surge that I really like, and so you can also play with Keen Reflexes that gives you more melee defenses. But also, I recently changed for Archer's Surge because when you first of all, you're already going to put healing touches on your targets, and so now with goddamn, I want to write menu brace. And so now with Archer's Surge, what it's gonna do is that it's gonna increase the base damage of your target, stacking up to 3 times, and that's literally what it does. And it also increases depending on your buff duration. And so if you put that on your DPS, they're gonna do more damage, and if you put that on yourself, you're gonna do more healing. And so I just think it's really good. So I love playing with that right now. So since you're going to play support and you're already going to put healing touches on everybody, I just think it's just a really good ability. And that's kind of what it is. And here I'm playing with a lot of range masteries because I love having a lot of range. So I think in here too. Yep, playing with the range here. And then for my passives ability, and I'm playing with overcome crisis, and it's mostly the defensives abilities. Like this is giving me cooldown speed and attack speed when I reach a certain threshold, and then here it decreases my uh, survival skills when defeating an enemy. I'm not sure if it works for an assist, honestly. But the thing is that the way I feel about this deadly survival instinct is that, like, all as a healer, all your abilities are survival abilities, or most of them. See, enchanting time is not survival, tornado is not survival, but everything else is kind of survival. This one is tactics, this one is control, but most of them are survivals. So I'm not sure if it works on assist, but I just feel like it's like reducing cooldown is really good. And then here I'm using Fountain of Revitalization, more healing obviously. And then the next one that I'm going to unlock is potential for more stats, but I'm still working on it right now. I need 520 uh, mastery points or whatever, so I only have currently I only have how many? 444. Okay, so there you go. I still need a few mastery points. So that's kind of what I think about my masteries. And then my artifacts, finally, I'm playing with the 2-set Grid Seeker for more endurance. I'm playing with the 2-set Forsaken Zealot for more defense. And I'm also playing with the 2-set Ancestral Armor for more HP. And overall, as a healer in PvP, the best way to heal is to simply stay alive, and so that's why all my gear is using defensives, and all my artifacts are defensives and more HP, because like the best way to heal is to simply stay alive. And so if you can stay alive and you can be a tank and things like that, you're gonna be able to heal. That's literally what it is. Like, it's that simple. And then for my active artifact, I'm using the max HP. I don't think you have that many choices, honestly. I think you could also play with the CC resistance here. I think that can be valuable. But overall, I just prefer the max HP. I just think it's more versatile. And most of them are DPS, for DPS, I think. So I think those are the two most important, like the max HP or the CC resistance. And then for the passive, I think that the Grid Seeker is by far the best. The one that reduces the skill damage it's the skill damage resistance. And so every time that you're getting CC, you're getting some sort of skill damage resistance buff. And so I think this is really good, and I think it is by far the best in PvP. And so it is by far the best. So that's what I'm using. And that's kind of what it is right here. And I also think that the whole Greed Seeker set is really good. I mean, I'm only playing with the 2 set effects, but I think the 4 set and also the 6 set is also really good. But it's just that using everything Greed Seeker is kind of rough, because it forces you to use everything Greed Seeker, and I kind of don't like that. So that's why I'm kind of going with these things over here. And so that's kind of what it is for PvP. That's a pretty long video. I was not expecting a video that long, but that's what works for me. And I don't know, maybe other people are doing other things, but overall, this is what works for me. And that's kind of what I enjoy to do right here. And I hope that this video was helpful to you. All right, peace.